Hello guys, FGF here. Today, FNAF 2 turns 10 years old, and I want to make a video celebrating it. It took me a while to figure out what I should do, but I came up with a good topic, which is every FNAF sequel I can think of. This means we're going to talk about any FNAF or any FNAF fan game that has a 2 on it. Or it's a sequel. Not that not all will be talked about. Maybe because some I barely watched, like Thomas 2 and Smudgers 2. Also, I don't even know if they exist. But we will still have a lot to go through, so let's just get started. Let's start off, of course, with the original FNAF 2, even though it's actually my least favorite mainline FNAF game. Well, I don't know, that might change when I try to beat night 1 of 5 of it. But does not mean the game is bad. I actually really like the gameplay of it. But there is one problem that I think is a note, and that is mainly Withered Freddy. I'm fine with the music box and the Foxy thing, but it's Withered Freddy. Over the years, I've realized that how Freddy should be the hardest character to deal with. Especially in FNAF 1, because even though it was easy for Freddy, I know that in Custom Night that he's just hard, because first of all, he can't get pushed back. Foxy is easy because, well, he can be in any camera you want. But Freddy, you have to be the camera on him specifically if you want to stall him. That's why I was always on Freddy's camera and barely on Foxy's camera. And seeing how Freddy just, how do I put this? Goes along with, oh, go forward to your office. Sometimes goes to party room 3 or 2, whatever one it was. Puts on mask. And he just acts like everyone else. And there is a game we'll talk about later that actually fixes this flaw. But as it stands, FNAF 2 suffers from the main character not having a unique AI. That's honestly what I put in last place. Sure, FNAF 3 has that flaw. But then again, Freddy's not the main focus of that game. And FNAF 4 also has that flaw, but it's not as bad. It's still kind of unique, but not exactly main focus type thing. Okay, now we're on to the fan games, and there's a lot to talk about. We're going to start off with the first one that I know of that came out, which is Five Nights at Warriors 2. This came out a month after the first game, which probably lets you now wonder how much quality FNAF games are nowadays, because I remember in the old days where you would only have to wait a month or 2 for the sequel. But now, you have to wait like a year or 2, or even more. For example, Jolly 3 came out in 2017, and we're still waiting for Jolly 4. Same thing with Candy's 3. What's another good example? Oh, yeah, I can't think of, but you know what I mean. Sequels now take a while to come out. But moving on, in this game, you have a generator. You must charge it in the back room, kind of like the music box. Occasionally, someone will be in your office. You must hide in the back room and make no sound until you're gone. And that's pretty much it. Sure, there are some differences with some of the characters, like how Bowser comes for the right window. Apparently that's a window and not a vent. Not sure how Bowser fits in. It'll probably be fixed in the deluxe version. Also of how Toad is like a Foxy type character and Mario comes from below. But that was pretty much it. Until, of course, the 2.0 came out in 2020. One of the good saving things about that year. That included, unbelievably, a level system. I didn't even think that was possible in a FNAF game, but somehow he made it work. An endless mode. A classic mode, which is basically Five Nights at Warriors 2, but with FNAF 1 mechanics. And of course, the custom night. And this made this game so much better. And like I said, there is a deluxe version. We barely got even information about that. Hopefully that new direct that WW Warrior, or Triple Warrior as he's called now, comes out, and we'll probably get some teaser or something about the game. One thing I also really liked about this game is basically the phone guy. Because in this game, he's actually voiced by Darko. And the cool thing about it is that he actually slowly gets corrupted into a bad guy by each night. And I can't wait to see that again in the sequel. I'm hoping Darko comes back to voice act, because that was probably one of the highlights about that game. As it stands, this game will always be iconic. Alright, now we're in the Return to Freddy's 2, and, well, yeah, I don't know where to start. This was released in March 25th, 2015, 3 months of the first game. It is a step up from the first game, but there's just some things I just don't like. Let's start with everyone's mechanic. Freddy, or Showtime Freddy as I call him, even though it fits more with the versions in the Return to Freddy's 2 rebuild, which we'll talk about. Freddy here, Showtime Freddy, goes in the hall, must use the mask. Bonnie goes in the hall, for some reason the vents, I don't understand how that works. Use the mask. Chica, same thing. Goes to the hall, mask. Foxy is in the same as FNAF 2, where you have to shine the light when he's there. Puppet's the same for FNAF 2. Going to Freddy's the same. I don't think I even encounter him. Sugar goes into the hall and the vent, and this is where things just get weird. I don't know how she works. Like, do you stall him with the flashlight? Do you have to wait for her to come down the vents? And the same thing with Kitty Fazcat. Because all I know that it worked during my Let's Play of is just use the flashlight. And then there's Doug, where you use some audio system, and that's it. And there are remakes about the game. Like Winter Wonderland, and which was actually a good game, and we'll get to that soon. And then there's Reboot 2 that tried, but I hated it. I hate that game. There's some things I want to talk about. We'll talk about that later. And also, I'm really excited for Return to Freddy's Stories 2, or Hatful of Stories 2, when that comes out, if he wants to make a sequel to that. Now let's talk about something that's barely going to be talked about. 5 Golden Nights of Freddy's 2. It's just something I saw Eve played. From what I can remember, there's a map. You see everyone moving. Someone comes into your running in your office, put on a mask. Is someone what you say? In the vents, you have to close them before they get in. Simple as that. Also, the mask here is a Bonnie mask, which is kind of fun. And yeah, that's it. One Night of Flumpties 2. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. It's the first sequel that had something unique, which is that exposure mechanic. Basically, Flumpty, Blam, Grunkfist, and Eyesore will appear in your room. Well, Grunkfist will appear in your room. All guys will be looking at you down the hall. And instead of killing you instantly when the lights are on, you will have an exposure meter that increases every time they... Well, it will increase... I don't know how to explain it. The more they appear there, the more the thing will increase. Yeah, which is a very good mechanic because it's a nice way of not getting BS'd by the characters. The owl is probably one of the first Foxy-like mechanics to introduce the multiple directions instead of one. And also, there is this hard boiler mode, which is basically just the night 6 of Flumpties, pretty much. But as that stands, this is probably one of the first sequels to have a unique mechanic. Now let's get on to Five Nights at Sonic's 2, which is just FNAF 2 but with Sonic characters. Yeah, that's it. There's definitely not anything unique about this one. Okay, there's one. That is Night 8. Yeah, this game has a Night 8. It's nothing really that special. All you do is just put everyone 8 and everything else do its work. There is one thing that I should talk about, which is that this, like Warriors, this also got a 2.0 update. It was actually, in fact, released 4 months ago. This update fixed the flaw I had with FNAF 2, which is giving the main character a unique mechanic. You see, originally Sonic acted like with Freddy, but now in this update, Sonic has a completely new mechanic. Sonic will move to almost every single camera, and he'll try to attack you from either the hall or the vents. Once he's in the hall, well, he's very up close in the hall, or when he's in the vents and you see him in the light, you have to use the light on him. Not flash, but hold the light on him, and he goes away. The reason why this works so well is because, well, Sonic won't get fooled by a Sonic mask. That's common knowledge. It's honestly why I always question how Freddy got fooled by his own mask. Anyways, another unique thing is because he has super speed, he'll occasionally get more faster and faster to the point you won't be able to handle him. This is where the cameras will actually become useful. You have to track him. You have to shine your light at him to stall him. throughout all the cameras. This not only gives the main character the main attraction, it also finally makes a reason for the cameras to be there. Because basically, in FNAF 2, you can only have one camera, that's it. Here, you can actually have time to look at all the other cameras and see the other characters' animations. That's just what I think should have been in FNAF 2. There's also a survival mode, a wheel-time night, but you know what those things are for now. For some reason. The wheel-time thing, not the survival thing. The survival mode has been here for a while. The wheel-time night is just a recent thing that just became a mechanic in FNAF games. Because of that, this is probably the best FNAF Five Nights at Sonic's game. Though, there is the third game. I can't wait to see what that's changed. Anyways, moving on to Five Nights at the Chum Bucket. It's a sequel to Five Nights at Krusty Krabs. I might make a Let's Play on it at some point. For all I can remember, you survive against SpongeBob, who's taking steroids, a demonic Patrick, Squidward, Mr. Krabs, Sandy, even though I don't even know why Sandy looks like that in the game, and some neon glow green thing. I don't know what that is. It's basically just FNAF 1, but RNG. No, not RNG, but an Unreal Engine, and I think there's different rules for the powers. I don't know. That's all I can say. It's a game. It's iconic. I'll probably play it at some point. Not sure when. Five Nights at Tubbyland 2 is the sequel to the original Five Nights at Tubbyland that for some reason takes place in 2036. Which makes me wonder how the 2.0 versions of these Tubbylands will look like when Tubbyland Archives Act 3 comes out. Because I'm really hoping they look high-tech compared to what they look like in the game. Anyways, from what I can remember, in this game, instead of using a mask for so many characters, you have to use a gas system, which will be later used in Return to Freddy's 4 and Jolly 3. Some other things, Nunu, I forgot exactly what you do. I think you also used to smoke gas, but in the cameras when his music plays. And Tinky Winky, you just stall him. Or else he'll turn off the power and just spook you for a bit. He doesn't actually kill you for some reason. Okay, here we go. Five Nights at Candy's 2 is the sequel to probably one of the best fan games of 2015 that releases a month after FNAF World. This game, like how Five Nights at Candy's 1 felt like a fan game of Candy's 1 and 2, no, Freddy's 1 and 2, this feels like a fan game of FNAF 2 and 3. Because of how all the characters are withered like FNAF 2, but how you're in like some type of warehouse abandoned type dark place and you have to lure characters away from you like FNAF 3. This game, to me, had very spooky stuff, like that creepy menu music. I still don't understand how Emil made that or where he found that. And I think one of the scariest things for me, this might seem odd, but it's that mini game that played that was teasing Five Nights at Candy's 3. I don't know why, the music just felt so weird and odd to me. Also, can someone tell me if FNAF 2 is actually getting remastered? I've been hearing very many rumors of it, but I haven't heard anything about it. I feel like if there was a FNAF 2, it probably would have came out in 2020, just for its 4-year anniversary, but nothing's been out yet. But as it stands, this is just a very nostalgic game to me, and I don't have that much to say. FNAF Let the Show Begin is a fan-made sequel to FNAF where all the characters are Sandy. I have nothing else to say about that. FNAF 2 is another fan-made sequel for FNAF, where it has the same characters but they're all phantoms or spirits, and they have a Springtrap Mickey. It acts like FNAF 3, and that's all I could remember and think of. Final Nights 2, Sins of the Father, is the sequel to the Final Night series, where you play as William Afton, where you have to survive against burnt versions of the Wizards, along with the puppet who's called the brother in this franchise, not sure why. And I think his own house or like some type of in his like attic or something. I think we're in the attic. I don't remember exactly how the mechanics work. I know there's like some FNAF 4 style stuff along with some FNAF 3 stuff, but that's all I can remember. The cool thing I love about these Final Nights games is that there's always a Night 5 boss. Here you face off against a Shadow Springtrap, a Shadow Fredbear, and some Glitch Balloon Boy. Also in this thing, you have in-between cutscenes where you have to actually choose. And if you choose wrong, you actually get the bad ending. But if you choose right, you get the good ending. And the sad thing is, the good ending you have to do all the bad stuff as William Afton, like putting on Spring Bonnie's suit and killing kids. So it's kind of a very sad twist there. But as I said, this is a very fun game, and I can't wait to make a Let's Play on it someday. Finds of Sonic 2 Reimagined is the sequel to the first FNAF Reimagined, where you deal with withered versions of Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, the Echidna, Super Sonic, and Shadow the Hedgehog, or Dark as he's called, from the first game. And there's new enemies of Amy, Cream, that creature that Cream always carries with. I don't remember his name. Oricho or something. And Sally. And that's pretty much it. That's all I could talk about. Jolly 2 is the sequel to the first Jolly game, where it has Jolly and George from the first, but it has the OG FNAF characters in a cargo ship type thing. Yeah, the setting feels very odd, but I don't know, I kind of liked it. Always wanted a FNAF game take place on a ship, and Jolly 2 was the first one. Second one was financed at Max 93, but we'll talk about that if we ever make a talk about all FNAF 3 games. You also get the shotgun 300 times a night. This is probably one of the most fun ones, because if you're someone like Taste Game who loves shotgun animatronics, this would be your game right here. Well, if you're a fan of Sys Location, that is. If you love shotgun the animatronics in Sys Location, you will have a fun time with this one. So I think the reason why I love this game was just having Freddy and the others. Sure, it kind of detracts the attention of the Jolly characters, but I look past that and just like this game for how it is. The Jolly franchise in general was just merging games with Sys Location. At least that's how it is to me. FNAF 1 was a combination of FNAF 1 and Sys Location. Jolly 2 was FNAF 2 in Sys Location. Jolly 3, FNAF 3 in Sys Location. Jolly 4... No, not Jolly 4. Jolly 3 Chapter 2 was FNAF 4 in Sys Location. Jollibees was FNAF Sys Location and Sys Location. That sounded odd. Phase 2 was FNAF 6 in Sys Location. We'll talk about that soon enough. And I'm hoping Jolly 4 is gonna be like... Actually, I wouldn't say like the Help Wanted or Ultimate Custom Field. I don't know how that can work. Maybe more like the secure... No, not Secure Bridge. Maybe like Help Wanted Field. But that wouldn't work because it's not in VR. I don't know. Let's just move on. Don't Scare Me, I'm Scared 2 is the sequel for the first game, where it's just Sys Location but more free roaming. It has a nice song in the credits. That's all I can say. Day Shift to Freddy's 2 is the sequel of the first game, where... Okay, I don't know exactly that much about this game, but all I know is that it's funny and I enjoy watching videos just to laugh. Basically, you own a pizzeria, you can be bad with Dave, or try to stop him with the phone guy. It probably has the most funniest spring lock scene in all history. FNAF The Lost Ones 2 is a sequel to The Lost Ones, where you're roaming around your house against Purity, Undying, Colt, who looks like someone from Organization 13, Oswald, and my boy Hourglass, who before he turned into the devil. I'm sorry, but I preferred him as the green Mickey Mouse type monster. Okay? He was green. That's just how I knew him as before Mallrat turned him into the devil. But anyways, moving on with his other project, Five Nights with Mac Tonight 2, which takes place in some giant warehouse where you face up against not withered, but tampered versions of Mac, Ham, Birdie, Mayor, and Grimace. Yeah, Grimace. It's basically Mac Tonight 1 with a music box, and you actually have to shut vents instead of overheat them. And Grimace just... I don't know exactly how Grimace works, but it's still a neat game. Art of Animation is the sequel to Breaking the Magic. You probably don't know what that game is at all. But each night basically starts off with some type of gameplay cutscene. Then it goes to the main nights with Mickey, Two Faces, Oswald, a Scold Mickey, and... Not Mickey, Minnie, and Mick. And that's all I can think of when I think about that game. I was going to talk about Jolly 3 Chapter 2 because it technically is a sequel, but then again, it feels better to talk about it in sync with the original Jolly 3 for when we talk about the threequels video. So we'll move on to Dreams Come True, which is a sequel to A Wicked Castaway K, where you're in a ship once again against Disney mascot versions of Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, and Mr. Stitchy himself, or Stitch. But for some reason, they actually would later combine and turn into Stitchy, and you had to shoot him. Yeah, you had to shoot him, and then the real Mr. Stitchy would bring him back to life. Not actually, but that would be cool. Fredbear and Friends Left to Rot is a sequel to Fredbear's Fight. At least I think. If I can remember, it's basically one of those games where each night is something new, with different characters in each one. There was like the Rotten Animatronics, Nightmare Mouse Boy, Prototype Boy, those weird, scary-looking animatronics with the pickaxes, and only Bonnie had eyebrows for some. Actually, Bonnie had eyebrows in this game for some reason. Don't know why. Final Nights of Max Night 2 would get a remaster with new mechanics, where instead of alarm, you close the door and specific characters shut the vent with what's his name? Hamburglar. Birdie can now attack. Bear can go one area. Grimace can just corrupt your system, and Speedy's there, and I forgot what he does. This is also considered one of the best Mac Tonight games, and I kind of agree with that. Especially when there's a shop. I think this is one of the first games that introduced a shop, besides FNAF 6. But yeah, it's pretty much a fun little game, fun big game actually. It was just nice to enjoy. Baby's Nightmares Circus 2 does not exist. Freddy in Space 2 is the sequel to a game that came out that will come out in 7 years. You play as Freddy and friends as they are trying to save Freddy's son. It also introduces us to one of the best characters in FNAF history, Totem Panic. Jollibee's Phase 2 is a disappointment. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was so excited for this game, but it just feels so off. It's basically FNAF 6, but you know it's actually scary. That's okay. I guess there's some unique things where you. Here's the gameplay. You can buy upgrades, plushies, other stuff. You have this weird monitor thing. You have to for some reason match the areas where you need to lift the choreography. You're basically in like some type of Amazon-like facility, factory type place, and you have to ship boxes to multiple areas while defending yourself against the animatronics. Popo and Yums, you have to shine your light on them. Jolly, Hetty, and Twirly, you have to hide and avoid them because they will try to sneak in and check if you're actually there. And there's like some post-night things, but they're really just do this, shine your way, listen for breathing type stuff. I think my main problem is that there was barely any story. And this was supposed to be the finale. Actually, that was a lie. Jollibee's As Above, So Below was supposed to be the finale. And we'll talk about that when we take a look at that. But I wanted more. All we got is that Kevin Johnson is dying. He turns into a cheerleader animatronic for some reason. I don't know why that is. The only good thing I could talk about was the animatronics and the extras theme. But understand, I did not like this game at all. The Lost Ones 2 again with Master, where basically the house is actually seeable. The characters are very much upgraded. Hourglass is actually the devil now in this game, even though his mechanic is, I don't know. I wouldn't really expect the devil to just turn on monitors and turn them out. I mean, it's a good mechanic, you know, to actually make you pay attention to your surroundings. And also it's removed because you never even saw him in the game in the first place. Ozzy. From watching some videos and playing some of them myself, I did not see Oswald at all when playing the original. Open Source is a FNAF 2 remaster that Fizzanate to show that Game Maker is better, and maybe I'll try it if I want to make more FNAF fan games, because clicking just feels too limited because of those damn cutscenes. So what's different is that the toy animatronics basically act the same. Difference is that Toy Freddy, you actually will have to put on the mask when he's in the hallway, and then he'll come in, do his little and then go away. Mango is like Foxy, but you have to shine the light on her. Balloon Boy's the same. Puppet is now Freddy from the original, and with the power outage. And the Wizards, you have to just stall them with the flashlight. Well, not stall. You have to shine them away with a flashlight. Return to the Factory 2, the McCoy house, is a remaster of Final Fantasy Warriors 3 with more rooms, more mechanics, and probably the scariest Night 5 in history. Just listen to this. The Return to Freddy's 2 Winter Wonderland is a Christmas remaster of the Return to Freddy's 2 that has the feel of the Treasure Island remastered that came out in 2020, which I love very much. It probably has the best extra song ever used in a FNAF fan game. One of the cool things about this is that all the animatronics felt smooth and actually did not feel complicated. Freddy, same as FNAF 2. Bonnie, same as FNAF 2. Chica, same as FNAF 2. Foxy, you have to hold your light on him when he's in the hallway, and you have to look at the other hallways and shine a light on him. Kitty Fastcat's the same name, but she can also... No, not Kitty. Sugar's the same thing, but you have to use the mask. Doug, I think you have to see him in the hallways and then use the radio. Night 6 is epic with Glitch Trap and Fredbear. And there's also post-night stuff, along with a Christmas minigame that gets darker and darker and darker. Oh god, very spooky stuff. The Return to Freddy's 2 rebuild is a disappointing remaster of the Return to Freddy 2. Okay, here's how it is. You have all the characters from the original. Showtime Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Fixie, Poopid, the kitty, Suga, freaking Dog Boy, Doggo, Sparky, what the dog doing boy, Fredbar, Lockjaw, Spoopy Lockjaw, Luigi's Mansion. I don't know why he's there. And what you base that creepy music death screen going to Freddy type thing. Don't forget about that. That was spooky as hell. Don't know why that exists. And basically, the whole map is changed. It looks nothing like the original. You survive until 4 AM for no reason. Why? Okay, here's how everyone works. Freddy and Chica will come to your lights. You have to see them in the lights in the 2 hallways. Put on the mask, wait for them to disappear. That's simple enough. The Fixie will show up. You have to see him get a seizure, and then he'll calm down. The light. Bonnie and Sugar will come to the vents, and you have to keep an eye on them and shut the vents. Then you have to constantly go on that one camera and make sure Doug stays in his place, while keep an eye on the 2 other light switch for Kitty Fastbell when you shine your light at her. And there's a Night 6 that's just confusing as hell. I don't understand it. Flumpty's 2, but Fredbear complicated mechanic. A post-night game with Freddy that makes no sense. And the worst thing of all, no story. It was all removed. And I mainly play this game for story. That's why I love FNAF games, for story. And there was nothing here. And oh god, I'm tired. How many more games are left? Oh, okay, looks like we're almost done. Okay, let's talk about my game, Fixin' Time, sequel to my FNAF fan game. Combination FNAF 2 and 4. All that much to say. This is my game. I'm not going to spend too much time with it. Check it out. Just please. Moving on. Post Shift 2. Hard Nightmare Adventure separated to 3 games. Because it was just too big. Very big. Very big. It seems fun, but I feel like I might rage a lot in it. Iblotis Casa. The official sequel to Treasure Island. We're in a cabin against Willie, Bael, or Hortensia, Face, Daisy, Photo Negative Mini, Pete, Dippy, and along with Mick's Grand Return, giving us the scariest version of Mickey Mouse history. Along with other characters, Corruptus, Celester, Cabin Face, Inkbo Big returns, Henry returns, Custom Knights, Slenderman's in this game for some reason, along with Jeffy Boy. Don't know why, but they are. Big game, very big game. I wish the credits were bigger and better, but that's all I could do. I wish the ending was longer, but you could do what you have to do. It's a fun sequel. I love it, okay? FNAF 2 Deluxe. We mastered FNAF 2 that adds the paper bells as an enemy, and a secret night against Freddy and Spring Bunny. Yeah, that's a fun thing. Oh, Wanted 2. My favorite FNAF game. And it's a sequel, so of course I'm going to talk about it. But what can I say what I haven't already say? I guess we could talk about the characters included. They were basically from the 2016 to 18 era. Pig Patch, Yendo, Funtime Chica, Lefty, Scrap Baby, Funtime Freddy, Electrobab, Bonnet, and much more. Sure, they were sidelined and not as focused I hoped that they would be, but to be honest, the same thing happened with Ultimate Custom, where a lot of characters from the first games, in my opinion, were sidelined just for the FNAF 6 characters. And the same thing happens here because, well, the security bridge was probably like the main thing everyone wanted to see. Apparently no one wanted to see Funtime Freddy and such. But that's just one other thing to say about this game. And I guess the last sequel we could talk about is the Return to Morris 2 The Fancy Cafe. The thing I like about it is that each night specific music plays, and it's just music that I've listened to throughout the game, specifically Dream Drop Distance, because that's also one I want to base this game a bit about. I want to give the same feel that KH Dream Drop Distance gave to me, and I think I pulled it off a bit with the lighting and such, and along with the multiple music boxes that plays each night when the power's off. Are there any more sequels that I've forgotten that we could talk about? Allsy, no. I think that's it for today. I'm already tired. I'm gonna edit this at some point. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you consider giving it a like and subscribe for more content like this, comment below what's your favorite memory for FNAF 2. And I'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.